Back in the early 1990s, I read every issue of the Jewish Chronicle for the entire Nazi era, from somewhat before the Nazi era till after. What I'm going to do now is read my findings regarding anti-Jewish violence in Nazi Germany from 1932, from the ascent of Hitler to power to Kristallnacht. The first entry is March 17, 1933, pages 22-24. Anti-Jewish terror in Germany. A number of outrages, including the murder of a Jewish lawyer and of a wholesale merchant, were reported. On page 22, 3 Nazis in Cologne who robbed a Jew of 800 marks at gunpoint were apprehended and expelled from the party. April 7th, 1933. Page 35. The Berlin correspondent of the Sunday Times authenticated 5 murders of Jews by stormtroopers. This is an interesting one. April 14th, page 5. Truth must out, an editorial. Certain Jewish organisations abroad circulated exaggerated atrocity stories. Page 16 reports the flogging of several Jews, among other things. April 21st, page 12, reports the kidnap and murder of a Jewish lawyer, among other things. It isn't clear if that's because he was Jewish or because he was a lawyer or because he's wealthy, person or whatever, but that's a murder. June 29th, 1934, page 15, a long article. 19 people, mostly Nazis, received lenient sentences for a pogrom following a public brawl in which 2 Jews were killed. July 13th, 1934, pages 18-19. Germany, Jew murder again. Reports of a number of murders, etc. July 20th, 1934, pages 16-17. Germany, the bloody weekend. Many Jews murdered. Black shirt atrocities. Reported SS outrages and suicide in custody. That sort of, he fell down the stairs, my lord. July 12th, 1935, page 13. 2 Jews were killed in Munich and anti-Jewish notices. One in a Frankfurt hotel citing Jews and dogs not admitted. Whether or not that's true, it has echoes decades later. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish. I don't know if that's true either. April 19th, 1935, page 9. 2 Jews were beheaded for the 1930 murder of Horst Wessel, an infamous murder. April 19th, 1935, page 10. It's rather amusing, this. Hitler is said to be a fan of Jewish actress Franziska Gall and to have many of her films in his private collection. But leaving that aside, January 17th, 1936, page 17. Jewish flag officially recognised. Zionist banner recognised and entitled to police protection under the Nuremberg laws and the national flag regulations. Page 18. An official called on a Jewish widow of 77 to tell her the names of her 2 sons who were killed in the war, mostly the Great War, the First World War, were to be erased from the local war memorial. If that's true, then it's sick. January 31st, 1936, page 24. Anti-Jewish posters were removed for the duration of the Olympic Games. February 7th, 1936, page 8, condemns the murder of prominent Nazi Wilhelm Gustloff by David Frankfurter. This was similar to the assassination of von Roth by Herschel Greenspan. Such a crime was said to be alien to the mentality of the Jewish people. In what universe? January 1st, page 25 reports that 56 Jews were murdered in Poland in 1936, 14 of them in September. And finally, October 15th, 1937, page 21, 2 Jews reported murdered by anti-Semites in Poland. So, not a lot in Germany. As I've said before many times, with a single spectacular exception of Kristallnacht, the persecution of Jews in Nazi Germany was social and economic. Individual acts were not tolerated and were sometimes punished severely. That isn't a lot of murders, is it, for the period, when you consider that 15 were murdered in that Bondi Beach incident, and we've had recent attacks here. Fortunately, no one was killed in the Golders Green incident, which you've just seen. But was Nazi Germany such a bad place? Or even worse, are we now living in times where Nazi Germany was nothing exceptional, and some of the behaviour we see here, especially some of the repressive laws, is worse than anything that happened in Nazi Germany prior to the outbreak of the Second World War?